Bobby Babich officially set to call the defense, right? He's officially being told that McDermott's not going to be calling him to start the season. It's going to be Babich. There's been a lot of talk about this all off season. A lot of people excited to see what Babich can do. I mean, he's a really highly regarded coach. So I just want to get your guys' thoughts on it. What you guys think of it? We'll start with you, Scott. What do you think about Bobby Babich officially set to call the defense?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, I guess that's why you have a defensive coordinator, because the head coach has so many things going on that having to call one side of the ball sometimes other things get neglected. I think we saw that a bit last year with McDermott acting as the defensive coordinator and the head coach. Like, there was just a lot of sloppy errors, like too many guys on the field. Like, so that there were some plays that maybe should have been challenged that, like, they didn't get the flag out in time. So yeah, I'm excited about it. Excited to see what Babich can do. Like, his track record as a position coach with the Bills is incredible, coaching the safeties, then moving down to the linebackers. So really excited to see what he can do with the whole defense. So yeah, like, I think it's a good thing. Take something off McDermott's plate, and now, like, we get to see, like, what we have in Bobby Babich, who seems to be kind of like a rising star in the coaching industry.
For sure, I'm pretty excited. I think Babich has been around McDermott for the past 12 years now or so. So it's like he's definitely got McDermott's mind set, I think, on defense, and it helps McDermott shed one responsibility, as he's going to have enough as it is. And interesting that he's going to be helping out probably the special teams a lot too. I think that's one thing he's going to have on his plate more than usual with that. So I think it's a great thing for Bobby, and I'm excited to see him, because I think he's definitely one of the bright young coaches coming up in this league.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to be excited, right? It's excited on the offensive side with new play calling and new kind of playbook really on that side. And now you, again, have new play calling with McDermott still there to be there if Babich has hey, what do you think here? This play or this play? What are we thinking on this kind of type of coverage here? It's going to be a good duo, I think, because the way Babich talks, the way that the players talk about Babich is in such high regard that you just have to see what he's got and see what he can do with the play calling. And McDermott, we know what he can do on the defensive side as well. He's a smart defensive-minded coach. So it's just, I think, them working together, it will take some, like Scott said, some off of McDermott's plate, as well as it's going to give Babich that chance to shine. And on the only downside of it is if he does a great job, there's a chance Bobby Babich could be elsewhere next season if he does a very good job. But, it's still exciting to see. It's, the first time since Frazier's been there that we've had somebody, obviously, since McDermott calling the defense. So, yeah, I mean, it's an exciting time to see how he can handle this defense, especially without Matt Milano being there for the first pretty much majority of the season. So we'll see how he attacks that, see how he uses everybody, and see just what his style is. Is he going to be aggressive? Is he going to be more conservative? Is he going to be kind of a mix of both? We'll see. So Bobby Babich officially set to call the defense. Let us know what you guys think there in the comments as well on him, and if you think that he'll do a good job. But
let's touch on this real quick, if you don't mind. And good comment here from Joey Hatch. And we can take a couple of comments here throughout, and we'll stop and maybe acknowledge them and just talk a little bit about it. Retired referee, we saw early, was that first game that he, got 2 challenges right off the bat. And McDermott's challenge record, I don't think was super good, but maybe not terrible either. But now with what's the referee's name?
John Perry.
So yeah, with John Perry on board, I think it's going to be a lot nicer for the Bills. What do you guys think just about John Perry's new role and kind of how that helps with challenges?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's
sorry, go ahead, Scott.
No, I would say, I think it's a really good idea. Kind of surprised that more teams don't do it. Teams bring in full referee crews to ref like the training camp practices, so they can kind of see the way things are going to be called. So I think it's a really good idea. It can't hurt to have, an extra set of eyes with that experience on the coaching staff, I'll say. So yeah, like I like it a lot.
Yeah, and for me, it's also just McDermott saying, "Hey, this is something I want to work on, that I need to work on," and he's going out and getting somebody to help him with that, and not just saying, oh, well, I'll figure it out on my own. It's, he's going to get that help. He's going to get somebody in there to say, hey, you're missing this. You're just missing this one small thing when it comes to, challenging or whatever it is. So I think it's a good idea. It's always good to get more help. Never hurts. All right. Do you have anything on this, Lance, before? Oh, you muted. Okay,
classic. So we can just roll on with the next one. Sorry.
So speaking of Bobby Babich, though, he did get another guy on his squad there on the defensive side. We talked a little bit about how he might even help out with special teams a little bit, and hopefully can kind of turn them into a great special teams unit in the NFL. But he did get another new player added to his defensive side, right? The Bills did make a trade for Brandon Codrington, cornerback from the Jets, although it's more of not so much for the defensive side, it's more for the special team side. He's going to be that return man. A lot of people were speculating, was it going to be KJ Hamler? Was it going to be Daquan Hardy? Hamler no longer here. Hardy goes to the practice squad, so they end up making a move here. So were you guys shocked by this? What was your guys' just initial really emotions? We'll start with you, Lance. What was your initial thoughts when you saw that this move was made, especially with the Jets?
I was shocked because I thought that that Hardy had done enough, and I thought early on he definitely was making mistakes and sort of rookie things that are coachable. And I'm like, okay, well, he did take a couple returns out from questionable spots and things like that, but it seemed like he was settling in, and I was becoming more encouraged with him being on the team, and they obviously weren't, and they went out and got their guy. And it was just a little bit surprising to me. I don't know a whole bunch about this guy, and hopefully we're going to learn that this move was really solid coming up here. Cause like for me, I'm just like, I don't know, man, you had plenty of guys I thought already in the building that could do this, but that's the guy they wanted, and we'll see how that turns out. I don't have a ton of background on this dude, so I'm not going to pretend to know much about him. I just think it's good to identify guys you like from the staff here, and then they are going to go out and hopefully prove us that they know what they're talking about, so we can have a great return game, because the special teams units have been very subpar, and we're going to need that to improve.
Yeah, it surprised me when they made the trade. My first reaction was just, who? I hadn't heard of him. I didn't watch a ton of NC Central football games last year, so I apologize for not watching as much FCS football. I watch a lot, but not as much as I should have, apparently. But the guy definitely has juice. He had I think it was a 62-yard return in a preseason game for the Jets. He had 2 punt returns for touchdowns last year at NC Central. He played a little bit of DB, but he was primarily the returner in college. So yeah, I guess they just thought that they weren't seeing enough out of the guys that we had. Like KJ Hamler, he was in the competition. He did not look good returning kicks in the preseason. I said this 2 weeks ago. It kind of seemed like it was Hardy's job to lose, because when he was returning those punts from inside the 5, I figured that they were telling him to do that because they wanted to see what he could do. Because why else would you do that? Maybe they weren't telling him to do that. And the fact that he returned 2 or 3 from inside the 5 is the reason that they felt like they had to make this move. So we'll see. Would have rather not taken up a roster spot on someone who will most likely only be a returner. But with the new kickoff rule, it's going to be a lot bigger part of the game this year. So I guess they felt like a way to get, some better field position was to bring this guy in, and we'll see. And I don't even know if the full details have come out yet. It was just a late swap of 2025 or 2026 late round picks. So
seventh rounder.
We swapped 7s with the Jets. Oh well. So if it doesn't work out and we move on from him quickly, it's kind of a low risk, high reward type signing. So very surprised by it, but he definitely has juice from what we saw in the preseason with the Jets. So excited to see how it works out.
Yeah, I kind of am similar with you guys. It's not something that we saw coming or thought would really happen, because again, we thought Hardy might be that, but it kind of tells me that, hey, maybe not even just that they don't think Hardy's ready to be a return man. Maybe they also want him to get those reps this season on the practice squad as a corner. They want to develop him in that spot. Teron Johnson's not getting any younger by the time that 2-3 years roll around. Maybe if Teron starts kind of going downhill a little bit, they start to bring Hardy into that situation and say, hey, you're going to be the guy to take over from him and kind of be his successor. So it's kind of tells me maybe that a little bit as well. But it's just, it's nice to see that they are caring about this position. They showed with the Hines move as well that they wanted him as well. So, getting rid of Hines, got rid of some money there. They bring in a guy still that's a little bit cheaper on this end. And maybe with these new rules, they're going to kind of test out to see what they could do there. So, not a huge trade, but definitely nice to see them putting some pressure on this new kickoff rule, this new punt returning, the punt returning in general. So we'll see how it works out there.
The Bills gave up a 6th round pick in 2025 for a 7th round pick. So that was the swap there with Codrington coming over.
Yeah, move back like 20 spots. So at the end of the day, like Scott said, high risk, low reward, or low risk, high reward. So yeah, we'll see what happens there though. Last one for the quick thoughts though, before
2026, sorry, not 25 either. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. So the last thing that before we move on here, quick thoughts again. Lewis Cine or Cine, whichever one it is. I still am not 100% sure. Lance, we were saying Cine. It's just Cine.
Lewis Cine, yeah.
Former first-round pick, I believe, from the Minnesota Vikings, did just get waived. Now comes over to the Bills on the practice squad. He's a guy that the Bills had in for a top 30 visit the year of his draft. He was very highly regarded, obviously, won as a first-round pick. Very athletic. If anybody, as Dave said, Dave Myers tweeted out, if anybody loves RAS scores, he had a very good RAS score. So, we'll see what happens with him. But I just want to know what you guys think. We'll start with you, Scott. Do you think he needs to be on the roster week 1, or do you think it's a little bit later? Do you think he doesn't really need to be on it at all this season?
Yeah, I definitely don't think he has to be on the roster week 1. The only way that I see him getting called up for week 1 is if guys like Mike Edwards, DeMar, and Cole Bishop aren't ready to go. And kind of, we haven't really heard a lot about DeMar, but it seems like Mike Edwards and Cole Bishop should be good to go. And one of the 5 safeties is probably going to be inactive every week anyway. So I don't see them like pulling another guy up. So I don't think so. Like, he's definitely a bit of a project. Like, he's a really good athlete. Injury bug kind of bit him his first 2 years in the league. I think he's only played 9 or 10 games in his first 2 seasons. So he's a guy that it wouldn't shock me if he just sits on the practice squad all year and kind of develops and learns from Sean McDermott and Bobby Babich, who are great at coaching safety. So I like it a lot, kind of like we were just talking about with Codrington, a low risk, high reward kind of signing. If it doesn't work out, we didn't really lose anything, but yeah, he's a really good athlete, and we'll see if it works out. And again, if it doesn't, like, it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, from what I heard, and Matthew Collar was on WGR, really not a fan of this guy. Matthew Collar was not really a fan of Lewis Cine, and said, I think Collar covered him in Minnesota and said he's a nice enough guy, but at the end of the day, not aggressive enough, doesn't have that mentality, that killer instinct that you need at this level. Doesn't think he's necessarily fit for the NFL level. Definitely a great athlete, but maybe between the ears, that little something that has to be wrong with you to play that position, safety in the NFL. Maybe Cine just isn't quite there. Doesn't have the speed of the game is still too fast for him. But that's another reason I think development down on the practice squad for now is best for him. And I think if there's anyone that's going to squeeze something out of the kid, it's definitely going to be this coaching staff, and that they're specializing at that position, it seems. So I'm excited to see how they handle Cine and see what they can do. Maybe they can come back and have a good, have a good story and kind of resurrect him in this scheme. But I'm not expecting too much from this player.
Sorry about that. My camera just randomly went out and then back on. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy that, like I said, good athlete. as you know, you just said, Lance, maybe not the smartest, maybe not, you know, as aggressive as they'd like, but if there's any coaching staff that can really get the best out of this guy and turn his career maybe around, it is Sean McDermott and this coaching staff. I mean, we've seen it with Jordan Poyer. We saw it even, you know, with Micah take really maybe a next level step up once he got here. You've seen guys, Taylor Rapp, kind of play a lot better football here. Just guys taking their play to a different level. Maybe not all of them are making it to all pros, but they're getting it up a little bit and they're becoming solid NFL players. So I think, you know, if you can get them in the first 3-4 weeks, get them used to the playbook, get them, you know, to kind of get that mindset right in this new Bills defense, maybe you do bring him up and maybe he does take a spot from Hamlin or maybe Cam Lewis, even though I know Cam Lewis is technically right now, I believe, listed as a cornerback, which is kind of weird. I thought he'd be listed as a safety. But either way, maybe he takes a spot from somebody else if they can get a little bit more out of him. So I'm excited that he's at least on the practice squad, gets to get a new start here in Buffalo, and hopefully turn it around a little bit.